Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Continuing the reading of the first canto, 17th chapter. Now we are on text 2. Translation. Well, why not read the Sanskritam also? Vrisham rinala dhavalam mehantamiva bibyatam vepamanam padhaikena siddhantam shudra taiditam. Translation. The bull was as white as a white lotus flower. It was terrified of the Shudra who was beating him, and it was so afraid that it was standing on one leg, trembling and urinating. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The next symptom of the age of Kali is that principles of religion, which are all spotlessly white, like the white lotus flower, we will be attacked by the uncultured Shudra population of the age. They may be descendants of Brahmana or Kshatriya forefathers, but in the age of Kali, for want of sufficient education and culture of Vedic wisdom, such a Shudra-like population will defy the principles of religion, and persons who are religiously endowed will be terrified by such men. They will declare themselves as adherents of no religious principles, and many isms and cults will sprung up in Kali Yuga only to kill the spotless bull of religion. The state will be declared to be secular or without any particular principle of religion, and as a result there will be total indifference to the principles of religion. The citizens will be free to act as they like, without respect for sadhu, shastra, and guru. The bull standing on one leg indicates that the principles of religion are gradually diminishing. Even the fragmental existence of religious principles will be embarrassed by so many obstacles as if in the trembling condition of falling down at any time. Namo Vishnu Pada Krishna Prashta Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashta Bhutale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So the text too describes the bull and the situation of the bull. So first we heard that there was a person that was beating the bull, and here we find that this bull is white, like a spotless white lotus flower, and that he is being afraid. He's being afraid and terrified of the person, the low-class person that was beating him. And he was standing on one leg, and he was trembling and urinating out of fear, due to this horrible condition. Now, in this story, the bull represents dharma. Dharma here, Srila Prabhupada translates as religion. And I'd like to keep this short, but even to explain dharma would take a while. Even to explain what religion means, because to most people, religion does not... sorry, I'll have to just move on and flatten out certain complexities of the subject at hand. So, the bull represents dharma or religion, and in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that this is the symptom of the age of Kali, and this whole story is a story. What's the title again? Punishment and Reward of Kali. So this chapter and the chapter before and the chapter after describe the arrival of the age that we currently live in, according to Vedic concepts, roughly 5,000 years ago, we have entered into the age of Kali, a cosmic age of Kali. So there are cosmic ages, and the last one, the fourth one, is the age of Kali, the one that we live in right now. And so the whole event began with the disappearance of Krishna. Krishna has left this world, left this planet, and the age of Kali begins. And here's the personification of Kali. That's this dark person. And what is this Kali doing? This Kali is beating, terrifying, abusing the bull. And the bull here is dharma or religion. Now, the claim here is not that religion is the claim here is not that religion is a matter of human organization, but the claim here is that religion is conceived of as dharma. And dharma means dharma refers to the ultimate nature of something. And nature of something nature of something, for its natural consequences, has obligations towards itself. For example, knife is typically made out of steel, sharp steel, and because of its nature, in other words, its dharma, the way it is made, the way it exists, according to its characteristics, we have duties towards this knife. One of the duties is to be careful. It's sharp. If you use this knife neglectfully and hurt someone, you have done wrong. And negligence is sort of a criminal act. Maybe not technically criminal, but criminal in the sense that it's an inappropriate, sort of an evil act. Negligence. Like if a parent, because the child, because of the vulnerability and sensitivity of a child, the duty of the parent, automatically, as soon as someone is a parent, that person has a duty towards the child, a duty to not be negligent. And negligence of a parent towards the child is, I think, a felony. I'm not sure, it doesn't matter. It's a criminal act. So that's what religion here means, dharma. And this bull represents dharma. Now, the claim of the Vedic tradition, Vaishnava tradition, the tradition of the Bhagavatam, is that there is a very specific, ultimate nature of existence, of reality, of who we are and what we ought to do, and all of that, for its consequences, has certain sets of responsibilities. And one of the greatest responsibilities is the responsibility for self-realization, that one endeavors and practices self-realization. There's much more to it. I'm really super simplifying it. And this bull represents all of this religion, ultimate nature of reality. And religion also means, in other words, dharma also means a culture that develops around these concepts. Why culture? Because it is necessary for this culture to exist so that we study, understand dharma, and act accordingly. So dharma is not a question of person's beliefs, person's religious indoctrination or or religious membership. Dharma is way beyond all of that. And Srila Prabhupada very often described Dharma or Krishna consciousness as not another religion. Very important to understand. Even though Hare Krishna as a movement is a religion, but very often Srila Prabhupada described Hare Krishna as the Dharma, Paradharma, the highest Dharma, and therefore is not yet another religion. In other words, Dharma refers to an objective set of values, irrespective of our club membership, spiritual club membership, or any kind of membership. So a symptom of Kali is that this Dharma is being under attack of a low-class person, a Shudra. And we see in this age, the age that we live right now, we don't find that much interest in self-realization. Anyhow, whatever we see or don't see in this age of Kali, the symptom of age of Kali is not only it's a lack of interest in self-realization, it's a lack of interest in Dharma, in the ultimate nature of reality and the duties that derive from it. And in one sentence here, Srila Prabhupada says, the citizens will be free to act as they like, without respect for any sadhu, shastra, or guru. The citizens will be free to act as they like. What does that mean? That means that the ultimate religion in the personality of Kali is desire. I desire, and therefore it ought to be. This is so stupid. This is evil. We cannot begin a search for truth from what I desire, even though that does come into consideration. But Ya Shastra Vidimusrija Vartante Kama Karataha. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is recorded to have said that rejecting the duties towards the higher reality, the person simply acts upon their own desire, kama. And so, I mean, if desire is the standard of culture, justice, truth, etc., then we really have nothing to complain about in regards to evil people. So, but anyhow, the citizens will be free to act as they like. And this is the tendency of a civilization, of a person, or a group of people, of a culture that's devoid of spiritual interests, namely that they just want to indulge in their desires, whatever the desires may be. And typically these are gross desires, desires devoid of anything sophisticated. It's just the bestial desires to eat, sleep, have sex, and fend off fearful situations. That's an animal. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada lists several other instances of this threat by the low-class person of Kali towards the personality of religion, Dharma, the bull. Srila Prabhupada mentions, says, they may be descendants of Brahmana or Kshatriya forefathers, but in the age of Kali, for want of sufficient education and culture of Vedic wisdom, such a Shudra-like population will defy the principles of religion, and persons who are religiously endowed will be terrified by such men. In other words, that the very people that abuse Dharma are the people that come in the great lineage of intellectual spiritualists, priests, brahmanas, etc., etc. We find this remarkably in the story of Jesus Christ. I mean, Jesus Christ was basically murdered by priests who had Romans, their very enemies. They so hated Jesus because Jesus had very high spiritual standards, thus exposing their lack of spiritual religious qualifications. They sought the help of their own enemy to get rid of their enemy, as the saying goes, enemy of my enemy is my friend. So even the we have in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, we have a story of the donkeys of the Talavana forest who represent clergy, degraded clergy, a clergy that takes over monopoly of the institution, but they themselves have no spiritual qualifications. This is one of the great problems of institution, that when you create an institution, there are a great many benefits, but there are a great many dangers. One of them is that the spiritual element becomes institutionalized and falls into the hands of people who do well in politics rather than in spiritual content. They will declare themselves adherents of no religious principles. That's an interesting symptom of Kali, and we definitely see that prevalent in modern times. That even spiritual people, who are supposed to give others, themselves cultivate and then give others spiritual content, they just water it all down to the point where there's no shape, there's no form, there's no smell, there's no concept. It's so not concrete that you cannot define it. In other words, anything goes. Anything goes. Whatever works for you, man, it works for you. But what does that mean? I mean, if there is absolute truth, you ought to, anything that exists has characteristics, and if it has characteristics, it can be described. And therefore, certain things are and certain things are not. In other words, certain things are correct and certain things or concepts are incorrect. It's not that everything is correct. And so it is very popular to say, where's the sentence? No religious principles. They will declare themselves as adherents of no religious principles. No principles, no laws, no definitions. I remember once one chiropractor, of course in Southern California, where else, the capital of this, he told me that he feels most spiritual when he surfs. In other words, he's confusing satisfaction with meaning. These are two different things. Ideally, they merge together. Not that they merge together, but they coexist. They're present together. But these are still two separate things. And very often, when you talk to people about the goal of life, they don't speak of the meaning of life. They say, for me, meaning of life is to surf waves in Southern California or whatever. Excuse me, that's what you like to do. But how does that make a meaningful life, that's a whole different question. So no religious principles, just one absolute total subjectivity. There are no objective principles, just the mudding of it all. That is the symptom of age of Kali. As one Christian author said, that he described modern Christianity as Jesus light. Self-loving Jesus light. Self-loving means full of lust. Love is decentralizing. Lust is centralizing. Lust is egocentric by its very nature, and love is decentralizing, as when you come to love someone or something, that something or someone becomes the center of attention, not you. That's a huge difference between lust and love. So he said, self-loving Jesus light. Self-loving, so full modern Christianity, right? That's how he describes it. Not Christianity, but the Christianity as what's left of it when fallen into the hands of people under the influence of age of Kali. So self-loving means full of lust. The most important thing is that I feel good. And the second said Jesus light. Not enough of Jesus in there. Self-loving Jesus light. So yeah, nothing can be defined. What works for you, man, works for you, and it's no. Excuse me. What's true for you, it's true for you. Is this wall white? I mean, if it's white, it's white, irrespective of how I perceive it. That's the difference between objective truth and our subjective perception. These are some of the symptoms of Kali, and when we see these symptoms, we can remember this section of the Bhagavatam, where the Bhagavatam says, "These are the symptoms of age of Kali." Well, I guess I have to stop in one point, so I'll stop here. This chapter continues, and many of the ideas will be repeated. So where I'm at physically in a geographical location, I don't have internet access, so I will try to cover this whole chapter, but we'll see. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.